Hey, welcome to the SaintsCityMe, a podcast dedicated to delivering audio love letters from all around the world to New Orleans, the New Orleans Saints, and the people of New Orleans. I'm Dan. Unfortunately, I'm on my own tonight because Mike's having some connection issues. He might join us a little bit later. We'll see. We hope he can get on. But this week's episode, I'm really, really happy to say that we're going continental. And I'm delighted to say we've got the guys from Saints France with us today to talk about their experience as Saints fans, their experience of being Saints fans from arguably one of the homes of New Orleans or the direct descendants of New Orleans. So I just want to say bonjour, welcome, and how are you both doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thanks for having us, then.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you for the invite, guys.
No, we're really, really, really pleased to have you guys on. As we were saying just before we started recording, it's the whole Saints France getting the exclusive rights and things like that. I think it's a really exciting time for you guys in particular, and for European fans as well to get an opportunity, because obviously coming into France is going to then open up some of the boundaries a little bit more for us as European fans and things like that. So I think it's really, really exciting. And you guys, you're not new at that. Just for people listening, this isn't a new thing for you. Your Twitter page has been going like over 10 years. You're well established. It's not like a new thing that you've sort of been encouraged to do. You've been going for a long time, you guys, haven't you?
Yeah, so basically, like, I'm gonna let John start, because like he's older than me, I would say, in the behind the Saints Twitter, but like it's such a long story about it, actually.
Please share it with us. That's what we want to hear.
I've been running the accounts since 2015, I guess. We've been only two behind the accounts. Now I think we are five. So I took the account with like 500 followers. Now we are close to 4,000. So we are really proud about it. And Elio joined in 2018, I guess. Tell me if it's right. 2019, and it's been tons of fun. We want to promote the sport in France. We want to promote the team, and of course there's this connection between France and New Orleans, and we're really passionate. And I think the thing that drives us is we want to promote the sport and the city and the team, and it's been quite a ride with those guys.
It must be like, sorry, go on, Elio.
Oh yeah, sorry. It's been a long way to go there, because like, in France, like football, what we call in France American football, but like football is not that well known. Like we all know like soccer, like you do in the UK. Like people loves basketball in France as well, but like they're really not like the football fans are very rare. So it was kind of not easy to start, and we had a long way to go there, to go to that number of followers and everything, but like we kind of did it. So of course, like being French and affiliated to the Saints helps, but at the same time there's like new people, new kids who start following football more and more. It's kind of a new thing in France, so we have more and more followers right now, and like it's a good thing, and we're trying to work on it. Like we're trying to like take advantage of it, of course, but like it wasn't easy at the beginning, and we needed like some time to get there. So we're kind of happy. We're kind of happy at the result.
No, it's good. I don't.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I think Drew Brees made it easier for us too.
Yeah, definitely. It's an interesting point you said there about basketball being more popular as an American sport in France. So I was doing some research, because obviously everyone knows Tony Parker, and we've seen the NBA draft this week with Victor getting drafted and things like that. So, and when I was looking into it, there's a lot of French players, active French players, playing in the NBA right now. But in terms of French players in the NFL, there's only one, I think, who's active, and he plays for the Chiefs. And I don't think he was even born in France. I think it's like one of his parents is French. But it's like interesting to see how these different sports get adapted by different countries. Like obviously Germany's big on American football. Why do you think that is in France? Do you think it's just a case of, you know, soccer is so dominant, and then, you know, when you've got urban areas, like it's easier to fit a basketball court into Paris than it is to put a football field or something like that in?
I'd say like it's not easy to play football here because like you need equipment, you need to pay a lot, you know,
Yeah.
to play football. You don't have that many teams in France. You have kind of good players because like no more and more we have D1 players in the US, like
Yeah.
basically like playing for Power 5 teams. The number one JUCO guy 2 years ago, a year ago, Junior Amba is French. He went to Auburn, transferring to Purdue right now, but like Purdue, Brazil.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, like more and more football starts to grow, but like at the same time, Germany has ties with the US since you have all the US base right there, like army bases right there. You know what I mean? I think you guys in the UK are more ties with the US, like historically, makes sense. And basketball is kind of easy to play. You can go play basketball wherever.
See the net,
you
net
know?
and a ball, and you're good. Yeah.
And at the same time, the NBA is like, it was the American League we understood first. We can expand all game in the world. Look at the MLB, look at the NHL, look at the NFL. Like, they're not that popular outside of the US. Instead of Canada, instead like of maybe English speaking countries, but like NBA is. Why? Because like NBA understood first, like they can be international. And that's why when you go to the US, like so many French people think in the US, like basketball and NBA are the number like one sports, like a league and everything, which is not true at all. But like NBA is way more popular, like in internationally compared to in the US. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just a difference. I think France was in this kind of like France did it as well. So it's just like it's so easy to go. No, it's way more easy to be a French basketball player and like start like playing basketball wherever in France, and like maybe go to be pro or wherever, because like you have big leagues in Europe as well for the basketball, but not American football. You have a new league, you have the EFL right now, but like that's it, you know.
Yeah, because obviously rugby's very popular in France, and that for a lot of people is a gateway to the NFL. So I know a lot of people in the UK who were rugby fans who've found American football through that. So I can only see it getting bigger in France because that natural, you know, the familiarity with it and things like that. So in terms of a question we always ask everyone who comes on the pod, and you guys, you may have a slightly different answer to other people, but what was it for you first? Was it the Saints first as a football team, or was it New Orleans that attracted you to the Saints first? Which way around was it for you guys?
Do I go first?
You go first, but we have the same reply, and you go first.
Okay, so first it was about the city. I discovered the city through music. I'm a huge metal fan. There's a huge metal scene in New Orleans. As you can see behind me, there's a flag from the band called Down. I've been listening to the metal scene from NOLA since, I guess, 2001, 2002. I got interested by the city, and I really fell in love right after Katrina, and I was looking at tons of documentaries on TV, and really fell in love with the culture that and the city. And then I saw so my favorite singer with the fleur-de-lis from the Saints on tattooed on his scalp was like, okay, maybe I should get to it. And I started watching the Saints in 2008. Yeah, I was downloading the games on Emu, right? Like 2 or 3 days after the broadcasting in the US, and that's how I got into it.
That's really interesting, because when you said music, obviously I've been following you for a while on on Twitter, so I could see what kind of music he's into, and I see like you was at a gig recently, and I could see the bands.
Yeah.
So normally when people say, "Oh, it's the music," you expect them to say, "Oh, it's jazz," or it was
Jazz,
this.
yeah, for
but,
sure.
but for someone to bring a different element is really really interesting, and maybe that's something that some of our listeners wouldn't have thought of or knew about New Orleans to have that scene there. So it just opens people's eyes to the broad musical spectrum of the city for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you grow up, you know, you always have this like one place in the world you want to visit, you absolutely want to go. I think it's the same for everyone. My city was New Orleans, but I can't explain why. It is what it is. And when I started following football, naturally, like I started following the Saints, and it was like kind of years after Katrina and everything. So, you know, like all the stories around everything, like Drew Brees coming, like going to this, Drew Brees and Sean Payton going to this city, this devastated city, the rumors of the teams moving to another place and everything. Like, you know, you have a huge narrative around New Orleans, and you had a huge narrative around New Orleans at this time. And this is how I started following the Saints, and never left me, you know.
So have either of you been to New Orleans, or
Both of us,
been?
yes. To Saints game, yeah, both of us.
And how do you, if you was to, so one of the questions I had, and I'll try and word it in a way that makes sense, but obviously New Orleans has a very distinct culture to it as a city, and everyone obviously talks a lot about the connection to France. Do you feel when if you look at that culture, does it feel like it's a rounded French culture, or what is there, or is it more like regional? Is it like a Parisian culture, or is it like a different, like, am I making sense? It's like people always talk about, there's a lot of French culture in New Orleans, but is it just a broad French culture, or could you say, do you know, actually that element of the culture is more Parisian, or it's maybe a little bit more, you know, southern France, or is it none of that and it's just something completely different?
You know, it's interesting because like the history of New Orleans like starts like with French people coming from the West Coast because they were like riding boats and everything. You know, it's like basically even French pirates were in New Orleans.
Yes,
it was well known for that, and so we can't say the roots are like Parisian. We can say so from people like from the coast. No, John's living almost next to the coast, but like the West Coast. But like, so I can't tell it does a Parisian vibe. I can tell it has a French vibe in some ways, not everywhere, because like we often forget the cities was Spanish at some point.
Yes.
And people forget about it, but it's true. And I would don't say it as Parisian vibes. Like, and French people I met who live there, they're basically from everywhere but Paris. So I know.
So there's me saying Parisian like 3 or 4 times, and actually no one there is actually from Paris.
Yeah, so I feel the same way. I think it's a mix of everything from France. It's not from an area or a city. You can tell right with the names of the streets. You got Toulouse, so it's a city in the south of France. You got I think Chartres too. It's center of France. Yeah. So you got. I think it's a really good mix of the French culture, and you can see through the names, and also in the food, in the cuisine. There's tons of French restaurant too, and good French restaurants.
I when I was sort of looking into preparing for this episode, I started to look at maps of France, and I was looking at where the original Orleans is, and then I oh, there's a place called Chartres there, which is obviously a street, and then you'd see other towns and cities which you can see where the street names come from, and someone who's not as familiar with smaller towns and cities in France may not realize that. They just think it's a French word that the streets have been adorned with. So it is definitely educated me a little bit more preparing for this episode for sure. So what was your first visits like for both of you? Was it a visit you did together, or did you do it independently? Your first trips?
John, you went first, so your turn.
Yeah, I went first in 2014. It was my 25th birthday. was a gift from my father. He knew I always dreamed about it. So I went with my wife. We stayed for a week. We got a good friend of us who lives in the Bywater, so he gave us a really good tour of the city. We stayed in Bourbon Street, of course, first time. So we got a hotel right there. It was pretty crazy. Yeah. We arrived in New Orleans. Air France lost our luggage, so we, we basically arrived at the hotel with no luggage after a 10-hour flight. So what we should do? Yeah, let's get drunk. So we got drunk.
I was going to say, Elio, you're putting your thumbs up. I assume you work for Air France, or you work for connected to Air France, or
no.
You
I
don't?
work for the airline. I work for the airline.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's just because when you
yeah,
a rival airline, I see.
You can say whatever you want about Air France. I don't mind.
And yeah, it was quite an experience. It was like when you ran around the city that you thinks you know so much, and you recognize some places that you've seen on videos. Like I've seen a ton of places in the show Trimi.
Yes.
And it's actually it's been filmed in the Bywater and not in Trimi, so it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's been fun to recognize those places. The food was awesome, of course.
Yes.
And I went to my first Saint game at the Superdome. It was against the Vikings. It was the home opener in 2014. We won 20-10 with 2 touchdowns from Marcus Carlson and Pierre Thomas. And
nice.
yeah,
So you got to see those great players. Yeah,
that was huge feeling.
No, I bet you're seeing like peak Breeze there with arguably So I know some of them have left, but that offense was still those guys still there from that 2011 season. So that's a real treat to see a game like that with those players. Yeah, for sure. How about you, Elio?
Yeah.
My first time was kind of recently. It was in 2019. So my wife is American, but she's from Maryland. So DC area, like Baltimore, this area, and at the time, like she likes to do that. Like I love my wife. Like she just told me, like, okay, get tickets for New Orleans. I get tickets for New Orleans. Get tickets for the Saints game. I was like, what Saints game? She was like, week 1 against the Texans, so 2019. So went to New Orleans for 4 days. It was a Monday Night Football game against the Texans, and like we did this the comeback win with like the field goal from
the Will Lutz. Yeah,
I was there. Believe me, I hugged everyone around me. Awesome time. So yeah, first time in New Orleans. Met some French friends over there as well, and like like when you expect a lot from some place, like you can be kind of upset after all. And it wasn't the case at all. I love the place. It was awesome. I love the game as well. Nothing else to say. John did it like it wasn't all on the. Oh, Michael's coming.
Here he comes. He's got connection.
Yeah. But yeah, it was my only time I went to a Saints game in New Orleans. With John, we went to both of the last 2 London's game, but and I went last year to the games in Philadelphia by myself when we lost by a lot with no, it was 2 years ago with Trevor Siemian as a quarterback. So what an experience as well.
That's something to tell people as you get older. I saw Trevor Siemian play quarterback for the Saints. It didn't happen very often, but
so yeah, I spent a lot of time around DC and Baltimore, so I'm always waiting to go to the games there, but like the Saints are never playing in Baltimore or DC when I'm there. And last time I bought tickets to go to the games against the Commanders, but like due to COVID was the game, like I mean, like European couldn't go to the US at this time, so I had to I gave away my ticket for free actually. So yeah, to some followers with Saints fans. So yeah, but yeah, one time in Orleans, for great like memorable game. So awesome.
Yeah.
Hello, Michael.
Hey, Mike, how you
Hey,
doing?
Michael.
You had
Apologies.
a stressful logging on experience.
Oh my God. I mean, my wife just gone home because it was so stressful. I was in the middle of a bar trying to get on, and there was no reason or rhyme. I'm not a technophobe. I know how to work computers, and there was no rhyme or reason for me not to be able to get on. And I was getting so frustrated. She was like, "You need to be quiet. We're in the middle of a bar." And she went, "I'll leave you. I'll see you later." So I'm on my. I eventually just logged onto my phone. So here we are. How are
Well,
you guys?
we're glad you're here.
Yeah,
And
good.
nice to meet you.
Yeah, very nice to meet you both. So where are we in the conversation?
The recap is we've talked a little bit about the guys' first trips to New Orleans, how they became Saints fans. Both, it was a city that drew them in first and foremost. Talked a little bit about things like that. We talked a little bit about NFL in France in general, and how that's picking up. Haven't really gone into team specifics yet, so yeah,
No.
we can hold fire on that.
Was there any? I know it was a long stretch. I take it there was no Saints news.
Saints news. Do you know I've got on my phone? Right, I give you right here. I wrote down today what the points I had to raise. Right, and the most interesting thing related to the Saints that's happened since our last podcast was Pope Francis tweeting with the Saints hashtag.
Yeah.
That's the most interesting thing I could find.
How beautiful.
I know. Well, obviously, His Holiness is with us, but in terms of the only real news was Lynn Bowden, Kiki Kute, and Billy Price signing with the teams since we last recorded. I actually think the Billy Price signing is a sensible signing because we don't have a backup centre, and whenever Eric McCoy always gets injured at some point in the season.
Price was a first rounder.
Yes, first rounder with the Bengals.
Yeah.
He's bounced around a couple of teams, but he was like 20th pick, so he's like a mid first round. So a decent player.
Very, very quickly, Dan. I just have to show you something. I don't know if you can see it.
So
Nice.
this was going to be on my tenuous Saints news. We have a new logo which will flash up probably now if we can do it on YouTube and work out how to do it. But it's on the podcast thing now. But yeah, Mike's
you have to send
got
us some
t-shirt.
t-shirts, and you have to send us some t-shirts.
Oh, definitely,
We
for
will.
sure. Definitely for sure. We have to get them out to
There
all
was
of our
just a
guests
bit-
when they come on.
There was a very, very cheap T-shirt shop in the middle of this Greek town that I'm in, and my wife just went over to see if she could get it printed on there. I was gonna surprise Dan prior to coming on to the Zoom and just say, look, mate, is it okay to wear this? I didn't want to upset Dan, with the T-shirt with the logo on. Obviously, to do with my technical problems, I had no choice.
It's all love, baby. It's all love.
Good.
See, that was the Saints news. Oh yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
That's all I've got.
Yeah.
Unless anyone else can think of something else which is worth talking about in terms of the Saints this week. Do you know the other thing? Not specifically Saints news, but they had the tight end university this week in Tennessee, and last year we didn't. I don't think we had anyone went, and this year Foster Moreau and Juwan Johnson both went. So that can only be a good thing for them in terms of their development. Gronkowski was there, Kelsey was there, all the big hitters were there. So hopefully they've learned some things out. And Josh Allen was throwing to them by the looks of it. So decent company to be around.
It's always great. It's always great when you see players wanting to better themselves, and there are certain players we know who there are different camps for different positions, and they never ever go along. Which is frustrating because you if you can get some advice from the best, go and get that from the best. I mean, and it's frustrating when people don't do that. But I'm glad to see the pair of them win. this week.
Yeah. So, John, I've got just on something you mentioned. How did you find you came to the two most recent London games? How did you find that as an experience coming to the UK to watch a game?
The experience was really good, but yeah, of course, compared to my first game in the Superdome, it was not even close. The atmosphere wasn't there. I think it was better last year than in 2017. Yeah, I think more US fans traveled to London, so
yeah,
it was fun. Like the experience we had in the I think it was the ninth ward with Nick Underhill.
Oh, you was at night. We was at ninth ward.
Yeah, I was there.
It was a good day, really good day.
It was really good. Yeah, it was really good. So I enjoyed more in 2022. Yeah, it was 22 last year. Yeah, than in 2017. I had more fun.
John, did you get the opportunity to? John, sorry, did you get the opportunity to speak to any of the journalists? You were saying obviously Nick was there, and did you get the opportunity to speak to any of the journalists that travelled over?
Yeah, I speak a bit with Triplett and Underhill and John Hendricks too. They're really cool guys. So it was a great experience, and the thing that I love most, it's they are really humble guys, and they I think they try to get a drink and chat with everybody in the bar, so it was great to see.
It did. I was going to say, like, I remember I was standing there next to Mike Triplett, and obviously I suppose in the States it may be not the same sort of thing, but for us, these are these journalists that we see in there, our only connection to getting information from the team. So there is a little bit of, I don't want to say you're starstruck, but there is a little bit of admiration for them.
Yeah.
And Mike Triplett turns around to me and he says, "Hi, I'm Mike. How you doing?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know who you are." It's just it's like, we know all of you are. We all standing around like star-crossed schoolboys. But I won't go into it. But Mike did embarrass himself slightly in front of Nick Underhill. But he came back from his. I won't go into the exact details. But he came back from his hotel room and just made some declaration and didn't realise that Underhill was there, and Underhill was a bit like.
Well, to be fair to me, we obviously, I don't know, John, how long were you over for the weekend when the Saints played in London? How many days were you over?
I think I arrived on the Saturday and went back home on Monday.
Okay, a lot of people who came in from all over the UK came in on the Thursday. So we had the Thursday, the Friday, the Saturday, the Sunday, and then obviously went home on Monday, wherever we were in the UK. And I'm offering this up as my excuse for, and we won't go into the detail of what I said because, it's just quite embarrassing. But on the Friday night, I'd been out with Dan was there, I think, on the Friday, but you went home.
And a Thursday,
I then went out.
Yeah.
I went out quite late. On the Friday night, I believe I got back to my hotel at 4:30 Saturday morning. And then I had to go for a brunch with Dan and Adam from Saints Twitter and, and the wives. But that was sort of 10 o'clock in the morning. So, I'm not a young man. I need a little bit more sleep than I possibly got. So we went for this lunch in a fantastic venue. But then Dan and his wife decided, we then came out of the lunch and then we went to a pub to watch the North London derby, Arsenal versus Tottenham. So he went to a pub to watch that. Dan's a Tottenham fan. I'm an Arsenal fan. We had a few drinks there. Dan and his wife proceeded to get me shot, which I really didn't need. And let's just say, by the time sort of 6, 7 o'clock in the evening came round, I wasn't in the best shape. I was very, very. I even went back to my hotel to have a shower, get changed. And the incident with Nick happened when I actually came back after getting refreshed. So anyway, moving on.
I was gonna say that Elio's got the he's got West Ham shirt in the background there, so his allegiances are firmly there, Mike, for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good weekend, and it was I think you John, you said it well. They travelled well, and we've said it before in this podcast. It was a really good representation of the city. So we was really
of the actual
city.
Yeah,
definitely, for sure.
Which was wonderful. So what else have you touched on? Obviously, it's a little bit difficult for me coming in a little bit late. I'm assuming you touched on the international marketing rights and all that good stuff.
Yeah, but, well, we did briefly, but not in detail. I was going to ask the guys, in terms of that agreement, we don't really know how these things are going to work because I think it's relatively new in terms of these exclusive marketing rights. The only team I've seen really flex their muscles in the UK is the Jets, doing a lot. They've sent Nick Mangold over a few times. But in terms of, from your point of view, with what you've created with Saints France, what would you hope that they do in terms of engagement with the fan base in France?
We don't know yet, because so what happens is the Saints organization already know for a long time that we exist.
Yes,
they know it. They saw us already, talk to us, but by tweets. That's it, And we're kind of surprised at the time because we are it's an opportunity for them to start creating something in a country which ties with a city, and those kind of things. But they never did anything, so we're kind of waiting and being okay, maybe it's gonna happen sooner than later, whatever. And what happened a few weeks ago with this international rights, so it's kind of abstract, we don't really know what it is, you know what I mean? Some teams have international rights for a year, but there's nothing new for them. But what happened is the Saints are in contact with NFL France, which is legit because it's NFL France. But it wasn't before, but no, it is. It's totally legit. But we spoke to them with so brand news. It's on your podcast, guys. We spoke to the franchise with a franchise by private text, but that's it, and it's still pending. We have no news, not anything. They asked us few brief questions, but that's it. Nothing really new. And we're kind of we're not expecting anything from the franchise because we did this account because we are fans, and we run this account because we are fans. But to be honest, we help, and it's stupid to say, but we kind of help the franchise to be more well known in France. Maybe we saw with the years the community growing up, and so we saw it in person because we went to London, we met people who were oh, we're Saints France followers. It's we're glad to meet you and everything. We're not fucking stars. We're basically random guys who love the Saints, as you are, guys. But we root for the same team. But at the same time, we're trying to promote this team everywhere in France, and the Saints know that. And for the moment, what can I say? It's it's pending, and we have no news, and we don't know. So what will be the opportunity? A week ago.
Yeah. Him and Brittany were there taking their shot by the Eiffel Tower with the American football, all the usual sort of things you'd expect. Yeah.
I was quite frustrated by that they didn't engage you guys or an element of Saints fans in because NFL France know you exist, and we had not to the same level of as you with this, but we tried engaging with them before the London game to say come and do something, and I was trying to get them to do something. They were just ignoring. I don't know if they just didn't really appreciate that the fan base really wants that engagement, and they didn't even. For the London games, I don't think the Saints themselves sent a former player over. I think Juice McAllister was sent over by NOLA.com to do some of their media stuff.
Okay.
So they didn't even, for London, send a player over. And so we was in, and I think did we touch on this in the last podcast? I think with Ben. But we went to a media night in West London, and they had Jeff Duncan, Rod Walker, a couple of other guys, Luke Johnson, and Juice was there. And we actually said to them, why have they not engaged with the fans? And they said they said, you know, completely honestly, the team just fucked up and just did not realise that people wanted or just completely misread the fan base. So I think, you know, keep plugging away at them, because, you know, the opportunity is there, and they'd be silly to pass it up. I think, you know, there's so many synergies with you guys.
But absolutely, I mean, apart from like the synergies that we talked about, Dan, the fact is that they made the move into the French market.
Yeah,
they didn't have to, because in the first wave of the interaction with markets, the Saints took no interest in it.
Saints and the Packers were the only two teams who didn't.
Yeah. But now they've made an actual move, and therefore, obviously, with the unique cultural, historical connections that the city's got with France, you just hope that it's just not a transparent action. You just hope there's something behind it. And yeah, again, if you think about like the way that, obviously with Germany getting their games in the last sort of year and how big that is over there, you just hope that then if in 4 years' time the Saints are coming back over, you would have thought it would just make complete and utter logical sense for them to go to Paris to play a game in one of the stadiums. Because then you are carrying on the marketing, the synergy, because they'd be silly not to. But unfortunately, we know what the Saints marketing PR team are like, and unfortunately, they're not very good.
I mean, it's so unfortunate because, like, you know, American people, like, mostly are in, like, people, franchise, everything, companies, everything in the US. It's all about business. And it makes sense. It's like the American way.
Yeah.
It's all about business. And at the beginning, so you went out here, Michael, but like I was saying to Daniel, like the NBA exported well itself, like internationally, you know what I mean? And what happened is like 2 years ago, they started like this first like NBA game in Paris. And they invited every French accounts owner, NBA accounts owner to the game and to meet the players and those kind of things, to private events. It's not what we're asking, but if you want to sell your brand, you have not 10,000 ways to do it, you know? And like American football, like, is so like late compared to the basketball. It's getting late compared to the MLB, because like the MLB is getting more and more popular in Europe. Hockey is still another thing, but like hockey doesn't need it. They have Canada, you know, they don't care about it. But like, and they don't care about it, but they play like games in Sweden and Czech Republic as well. So anyway, like they're trying to touch the European market, but like, I don't know why a team like the Saints, who have like, because it's one of the team in the US that have one of the strongest like fan base outside of the US. Let's be honest. They have you guys in the UK, you are a huge fan base. They have us in France, huge fan base as well. People in Germany, I saw like Akun from Hungary and like other countries, you know, Italy, anywhere. And like, I don't understand why they don't like.
I think Elio, I think it's part of the fact is that even in Europe, that like what I find with the Saints fan base in the UK is that, I mean, we see it just, you know, every year. If you follow certain Twitter brands on Twitter, they throw out the figures of the biggest fan bases in the UK, and all the normal expected culprits are there, and the Saints are still pretty low down in those rankings. But the thing that I find, you know, this is not being me to be disparaging to any other NFL franchise and UK NFL fans or European fans, I think the Saints fans are horribly passionate. Because part of the thing that myself and Dan are doing now is, obviously I missed the first part of the conversation, But from what I understand, from what Dan was saying, is that your connection with the Saints sort of came via the city. There aren't many, apart from probably New York teams, there aren't many other franchises, I think, in the US where a connection can be begun with the city that translates into the football team. And probably New York is one of those few areas where I think that can happen. But I just think the same. Yeah. Sorry, Dan.
I was going to say, I very much doubt you're getting people in Europe going, do you know what? I just fell in love with the idea of Cleveland, and that's why I'm a Browns fan. That's, do you know what I mean? But people will say,
yeah,
you know what? New Orleans is magical. New York has something about it. You know, those kind of towns, they attract the fans more than the team, and that's unfortunately they might not like hearing that, but that's true.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, the bottom line is that they've made the move into the French market. You just hope that they've wholeheartedly sort of gone behind that move, and it isn't just well, we thought we had to, and obviously France was the obvious one. So let's hope that there's some conviction in that marketing.
They should have conviction in it.
You know,
we'll see,
because obviously it will benefit you guys, but also on the flip side, it would also benefit fans in the UK, because you know France is an hour away. If there are any interactions that are going on over there, UK fans, German fans, Italian fans can make it.
You know, Michael, at the same time, it's what we want to do. It's like make the Saints like organization acknowledge that they exist across Europe, not only France. It's not because of a French root, and it's what I was saying at the beginning. Not only it wasn't only French, it was Spanish at some points, you know.
Like, Spanish. Yeah,
they have a strong fan base in the UK. They have a strong fan base in Germany. So we want just them to acknowledge us, and like when they come to one of our country, or when there are things to do with one of our country or with Europe, like to just like be all together and work all together, you know what I mean? And I hope, like in Greece right now, I hope you will find Saints Greece around you like tonight.
I can assure you, I haven't found one single NFL fan in the whole of part of Greece I'm in so far. Normally, when you walk, it's literally, I think, you know, I think every day I've got I think I've brought 4 different Saints baseball caps over. I've got about 7 Saints t-shirts. I've got Saints flip-flops. I've got Saints, literally everything. And normally when you're walking around, somebody will give you a bit of a side eye because you've got NFL gear on, and somebody might say something. Over here so far, I've been over here for 4 days. Not one person has said anything to me, which I'm a little bit disappointed about.
Basically, we're
so I just want to talk NFL.
Yeah, they don't know what it is.
Game.
Like in France,
probably.
Like the fashion at some points, like was like wearing like Raiders cheers, like or anything, like, and people didn't even know what it was, you know.
No.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
so bad.
I was coming home from work on Friday, and I saw as I walked out onto the platform, I saw a guy standing at the train doors, and he had a Saints top on, and I just stopped and stared at him and pointed, and he must have thought, "Who is this psycho?" And I pointed at his fleur de lis, and I sort of pumped my chest, and he's like, "Oh, I get it." But I'd had a couple of beers after work, so that probably was why.
The other thing about which I think is, if you're wearing something that is Saints related in Europe, you've had to search it out. I mean, we have it in England where we have a number of shops, Primark, Sports Direct, a number of other ones, and even Next, which now sell a lot of NFL merchandise, but they're the usual culprit. You know, now the Chiefs, but it's still the Raiders, still the Dolphins, it's still that 1980s sort of, you know, they were the teams that. So if you've got, I mean, the amount of people, because obviously in shops over here, Primark especially, the amount of stuff that is there for the Raiders, and the amount of people I see walking around in Raiders stuff, and obviously haven't got a clue what it means. It's ridiculous. So if you've got Saints stuff on, I think you have to.
I was saying, in terms of like having access to merchandise in France, what is that like? So obviously we all have the NFL Europe store, but I find myself buying stuff from German stores because they've got a better selection than the NFL Europe store. Is there anything in France that's that is specific to France, or do you have the same challenges we do? You're basically fanatics, and that's it.
Yeah, we definitely have the same challenges. And last year, I discovered this website called Topper Stores. I think it's from Austria. They got a I don't remember the name of it. I'll let you know. They got a great selection of caps and hats, and like they got basically 30 different models. So yeah, but it's been a struggle. And ordering the jersey from the US, it's way too expensive.
Yeah.
So no, we're experiencing the same struggle, but I think Elio is
I'm a
lucky.
cheater.
Yeah,
I'm a cheater. I told you my wife's American, so when I go to the US, it's like when I order things and everything, you know. And like and John hates me for that, but like since I'm going next to Baltimore, and he hates me for that, but he hates me as well because like I'm going next to.
Just point out, Elio, I also hate you for that as well. So John's not alone.
I told you not to cause it. I told you not to cause an international incident.
Sorry.
One thing I will say is one thing I'm very envious of these guys for is they keep posting up, both of them drinking Ghost in the Machine
Hell yeah.
beer, which I can't find in the UK, but somehow John was like, I just spotted it somewhere in France. I just ordered it and it came.
Your problem, guys. Your problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna have to go back to the old. I'm gonna have to find out where in France sells this and go back to the old 1990s booze cruises that the Brits used to do to Calais.
Actually, we've been lucky. It was from a small craft beer shop in Angers. It's near Nantes. I don't know how the guy got it, but we basically ran through his shop. We ordered just everything. I got 6 cans, but that's it. Then it was sold out. Elio got 2, I think, and it was. We've been lucky. We've been really lucky.
We had a batch of Dixie. Sorry, go on, Elio.
Oh, sorry. My last order was from the Netherlands, actually. So it wasn't even from France. Like, first order was from the same like craft shop, but like, I got only 2, no 3. But like the second time it was like from the Netherlands, so I got them imported. And like I can tell you the custom checked at it because it was coming from Netherlands, so they thought it was a beer. You know, it was something else, but it was beer. So yeah, came to. But next time, guys, if you have some you don't have any, like we'll send you some. Sure. We'll send you some. Well, you have to try some.
I'm coming to Paris in October, so I might just stop. I'm driving from the Eurotunnel, so if I'm anywhere near anyone, I'll just turn up at their house, give me some Ghost of the Machine.
Don't think about it.
I'm doing the whole Euro Disney with my kids. So, in terms of just getting back to like Saints stuff, in terms of your fandom, who are your favourite players as Saints fans? And we always say to people, we all love Drew, but if you've got other players other than Drew, who is it like now and in the past that you just like that guy he's my guy?
Yeah. So current player on the roster now. Who's your favourite?
Demario Davis. And my favorite one when I started watching the Saints, it was Pierre Thomas.
Good man. Yeah, love Pierre.
It's good as well because a lot of people from that time would say, "Oh, Colston," which I've said recently, and or you know Jimmy Graham, but Pierre Thomas was such a good player.
Instrumental.
What he did,
instrumental.
And Drew loved him. He was that's where Sean Payton invented those dump off passes to Pierre Thomas and stuff like that. Is great player.
Elio, what about you, my friend?
It's at the time Vilma for sure.
Yeah.
Right now or recently, cause like I'm following a lot of college football, so you have a LSU hat.
Yeah.
of course, huge college football fan. I have a podcast about it actually, like
I
the
know.
number
Yeah,
one
please
French-speaking
plug
podcast
it.
about it.
Plug it because we might have
Yeah,
people
plug
who
it,
are
absolutely.
interested.
So yeah, and yeah, I'm working with previews for next year. Like right now, we're like doing a lot of podcasts about it. I'm getting crazy about it. Anyway, I'd say Mike Thomas because like I used to like him at Ohio State, at the Ohio State University, because we have to say the Ohio State right now. But like I used to like him, and like how much he worked, like everything he did to be on the field every time, even if he was injured and everything. His relationship with Drew Brees and like everything, like I love this guy, you know. I love him. I know sometimes he's not like the smartest guy in the world, but like I love him. And yeah. But I can't tell, like you said everyone but Drew Brees, but like I have to tell you Drew Brees because like I spent so much time. I lost so many like minutes of my life like debating about like why is the GOAT.
Yeah.
So
I get
Yeah,
so.
it's fun. Can you understand
think-
why? That's all.
But I think me and Dan have said it because it's almost like an unfair. It's probably like asking, let's say, an Argentinian fan in the sort of 80s and 90s, who's your favorite Argentinian player of all time? But then telling them you're not allowed to say Maradona because it's unfair. It's because the guy was an absolute star, and statistically and attitude wise, everything about him. So me and Dan do feel a little bit unfair asking people to choose a favourite player that is not Drew. But if we didn't, 98.2% people would just say Drew. So and that's understandable.
It's only the older guys who might come up with someone different just because they grew up with that love for that player, whether it's a Joe Horn or someone like that, or one of the Dome Patrol.
And sorry, Daniel, sorry, Dan, to interrupt you, but like the best British player right now is called Declan Rice. Just saying.
Well,
hey, look, if he comes to Arsenal next week,
Jersey.
I think you find though the best young English player is Jude Bellingham.
Oh, excuse me, Michael.
I think you find that the best young player in England is probably Jude Bellingham.
Well, he doesn't play in England.
No, he plays for Real de Madrid. Like,
I mean,
remember Jonathan Woodgate and Michael when it didn't work at Real de Madrid, so be careful, guys.
Yeah.
But it is, talking another discipline of football, but having like a Jude Bellingham and a Declan Rice, I'm sure you guys can appreciate when you had like Vieira and Zidane. It's like you've just when you've got two players like that can just bring different disciplines to their game, but be brilliant together. It's like it's funny because you was saying about the Messi Maradona question, Mike, about Argentina, but if you think I'm sure if I asked a Frenchman who their favorite France footballer is, I'd get like 30 different answers because there's just like Henry or Zidane
John is a cheater. John is half Portuguese, so no, he's Portuguese. Like he's Portuguese.
He takes Ronaldo.
Right? No. Figo.
I think Dan, that's a very fair question to ask the pair of them. Who is your favourite French player of all time? Because as Dan says, you have so many to choose from.
Favorite one, like any nationality from anywhere?
No. It has to be a French international.
French international footballer.
I root for Lille in in the north of France. We won the championship 2 years ago, so I'm kind of biased. But like, if I'm not biased, I'd say just Zidane. Like Zidane, like What can you say about him? Because like he's humble, he has everything. Like it's not like he's a bad guy at all. He's like just like talented, classy guy. And he's very classy because he head kick Materazzi, so he's classy.
I had one
top guy.
one of the
Yeah.
best first touches I've ever seen. Zinedine Zidane.
Exactly,
Unbelievable.
exactly.
Like, I'm an Arsenal fan, so obviously in theory, I would say Henri, but Zidane was my favourite French player of all time. It was like watching a ballerina play football, and it was beautiful, beautiful.
But
John, even though you're half Portuguese, we still need your answer.
Yeah, I think I'm going with Thierry Henry, of course. Henry was so cold-blooded and amazing striker, really.
Yeah, I'm obviously being an Arsenal fan. I think there was a period of 3 years during Henry's career where he was without a shadow of a doubt the best player in the world, and for him to never have won, never won the World Player of the Year, it was a travesty. I mean, I won't get into it. This pod will go on for another 2.5 hours. So, but yeah, it was a travesty. But anyway, moving on swiftly.
and so no, sorry guys, we have to ask you the same question, but in an English player.
Mine's
Favorite English player of all time.
Harry Kane. Right now.
No way. He's gonna play for PSG next year. Are you ready?
I'm prepared for it. I say Harry Kane. Like when I was a kid, Paul Gascoigne got me into football, soccer. I fell in love with Paul Gascoigne. Probably.
My favourite.
I was going to say Gareth Bale, but he's bloody Welsh.
No,
that's right.
I'm of a slightly older generation, so my favourite player to watch growing up, and unfortunately Dan is going to love this, was Glenn Hoddle. Glenn Hoddle was a majestic footballer, and yet again, it was that thing. If Glenn Hoddle had been French, he would have got 150 caps, and he would have scored 70 goals, and he would have been maestro in the midfield.
Can you imagine Hoddle and Platini
wasted
together?
Yeah,
Hoddle and Platini together, unbelievable.
Yeah. Anyway, right. I think now that we're talking, me and Dan are obviously Tottenham Arsenal, so there's a hatred there. I'm going to ask a question. Apart from the Falcons, which other NFL team do you hate and why?
John's gonna kill me. Go first.
I think it's probably the Rams for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the knuckle just killed me, and I'm going for the Rams.
Yeah.
I know. I've heard you've been in the stadium for that game, right?
We both there. Yeah. It's hard. Yeah. It was right in front. So I was up in the 600s looking down, and that was on the sideline by me. So I was sort of like where the edge of the end zone was. So when everyone just straight away went, that's pass interference, and we was like, well, has that not even been called? It was quite traumatic. It ruined my day.
I was fortunate enough to be in the 300, and I was literally right by it. So I was there, and it was literally almost felt like it's in touching distance. It was disgusting. I've never felt anything like that in the stadium.
Yeah.
Do you know what's worse with that game? Is like there is a second knuckle. When Drew throws the interception, there's a huge roughing on the passer, face mask, Dante Fowler.
Yeah.
Like I can't even know how they missed it.
So I
met the same game.
No.
As I was coming out of that game, I bumped into Morton Anderson outside, and he was just like, the officials just screwed it up like twice at least. He's like, how did they miss that?
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, the actual no call itself, there is no way that you could miss that. There is no way that you could. But the fact that there was a second call that didn't go our way as well, you just that and absolutely right. Why Saints fans think that there is a conspiracy against.
Well, then throw in the Kyle Rudolph push-off in the Vikings game a year or two later for the winning touchdown.
And again, and I was there for that game as well. So
you're just fucking bad luck, mate.
I think we need to move on. I'm sorry for the headache.
Have you seen the Saints win? Have you seen the Saints win?
Yeah, I have a few times.
We saw him in New York.
Yeah, we saw him in New York after a 5-game loss. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're moving on.
Yeah, no, we're not moving on. we got to get Ilio's team.
Oh yeah.
Easy answer. John hates me about that because like he thinks I'm playing too much with limits about it. But I love the Ravens. So I thought like Michael you went out here at this moment. Like my wife is American. She's from Maryland. So
Okay.
I have a ton of Ravens friends. I have a ton of friends who are Ravens fans. I go to the Ravens game sometimes. It happens.
Yeah.
I went to the game when they beat the Panthers last year. At the Panthers, and and yeah, I love the Ravens. I have some jerseys and jersey because like when you go, to anywhere in the US, like close to a city with an NFL team, you have like cheap like jerseys from this team. So
Yeah.
my wife buys me some sometimes. Or I buy them because it's very cheap and I like the team. It's like, but it's a team in an AFC, so no rivalry. I
I'm
know
with you there, John. I saw that, John. I'm with you, my friend.
Boo.
Bro said he likes the Rams, guys. Like it's worse.
No, I hate them.
You hate them, and
Yeah.
okay, a team I hate.
Yeah, it was the most hated team except the Falcons.
But yeah, Falcon and Bugs, but like it's legit. I really don't like the Browns. Like who likes the Browns? It's
The
not
Browns.
the Pats.
Not even-
I'm a huge Pats haters.
Not even Browns fans.
Huge Pats hater. And the Jets. Boo the Jets. Like who likes the Jets? Like really like, and they got like Aaron Stupid Rodgers as a quarterback.
Yeah.
I see your
Well,
face.
it
I know
sounds
what you're
like they're going to
thinking
be.
about him.
Sounds like they're going to be hard knocks, from what we're hearing. So
Yeah, they're going to be.
I say we're hearing. I read it on Twitter, so it's not like I'm hearing it from anywhere. I read it on Twitter. Sound like I'm inside info.
Dan's insider. Dan's
Dan's
insider
inside of
told
his
me.
Tom Pelissero,
Yeah.
whatever his name is on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I will not hate a team like for example the Vikings. A lot of Saints fans don't like the Vikings because they beat us 2 times. But like I'm not gonna hate them because they did their job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
start to notice a trend. I've probably mentioned before that older fans tend to have a stronger dislike for the 49ers and the Rams from when we were in the West. And then obviously now, it's interesting that some of those guys hate them more than the Falcons, and the Falcons were in the West with us. I suppose getting Jerry Rice and Steve Young beating the shit out of you every year probably just breaks you down, doesn't it? I suppose after a while.
That would
probably
do
how
it for you.
Jets fans feel about Brady and the Patriots, I imagine.
Every other team.
John, I know you.
But the Bills, like I dislike other teams from this division, like Dolphins. Who cares about the Dolphins? Who likes Miami? Who likes the city? Jets and Patriots. Like who likes this division? Really, like who loves it?
It's been dominated by one team for like 20 years. There's not really much.
And not even by the GOAT. Not even by the GOAT.
No, well, we know what the GOAT is.
Yeah.
Spent his time dominating the Falcons.
Exactly.
John, I know you mentioned in a chat you had a couple of bits you was pulling out. You was going to mention stories around.
I got some cool stuff. I met on Twitter. Now he's a good friend of mine living in New Orleans. He knows someone who's working in the locker room. So basically the players get tons of gear every 2 to 3 games. So the equipment team gets to keep all the stuff that players don't want, and they resell it on the black market. So I got some cool things, and I got this t-shirt who was worn by the GOAT himself.
Oh, look at that. That's something to keep.
Oh wow!
Look after that is.
I got
My man.
Let me show you this one too. This hoodie too was from Drew.
That's interesting. They stick all their names in the back of the jerseys as well, so they know
John,
what's theirs.
you're just showing off now.
And I got this thing too from Alvin. You see, I don't know if you can see it, but there is a little 41 over here.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So,
That's very
I got,
cool.
Yeah, I
That's
got
brilliant.
tons of gear. I just sent him like 100 euros. He gave me tons of t-shirts, pants, and cool stuff.
When we're off, John, when we're off this call, give me and Danny's number.
Yeah, but now the equipment guy left, so basically I'm getting nothing. So I'm kind of sad, but I've been lucky with this stuff.
Great things to keep though and treasure and knowing it's different. They're not the kind of stuff you're gonna like. Some stuff I just pick up off eBay. I never know if it's legit or not, but that's
special.
That's good stuff.
The box arrived. It was a Nike box. The name on it was Armstead. So you know it's legit and you know it's true. It's coming from the locker room, and so.
But I love that because this is again something what we're about trying to do this podcast is letting people see. Do you know what you might be living in Kenya or whatever and getting hold of this stuff, but we've got people in Central Europe or mainland Europe who have got the same desire to get these things and find a way to do it and fulfill their passion for this team. And you can't replicate that falsely. It's something that comes from loving the team. No. Definitely.
I've got something that I like. Sorry, Dan.
No, I think you're going to do what I was going to do. So go for it.
Well, now I was going to go through the score prediction.
That's exactly what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if you had a notepad.
No, I've got my laptop. I've got my phone. Currently, look, I'll move it. Look, watch. Look, I'll just give you a little sight of. This is my view.
Nice.
So that's my current view. So my phone is sitting on my laptop because obviously I couldn't get my laptop to work. So I've got my laptop here. So I can update the score predictions. So you guys will now end up having an argument because you can only come to one conclusion between you. So we're starting with the Titans at home. So between the pair of you, decide if that is a win or a loss.
For me, it's going to be a win.
Elio, would you agree with that? A win?
Always following John.
Right, so we'll go for a win. Right. Next game, the Panthers away.
Panthers?
Win.
Panthers, at Bank of America.
Yeah, we're gonna be the Panthers. Like Bryce Young's gonna be like too new, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Peyton Turner breakout game. Yeah. Don't hold me to that. Don't hold me to that.
No. Peyton Turner breakout smile game. Right. Packers away.
No, Packers is gonna be a win. Jordan Love sucks. He used to suck at Utah State in college. He's gonna suck in the NFL. No worries about that, guys.
John, do you agree with that?
Yeah.
All right, so we're off to a really good start here. 3-0. Right, Bucks at home.
I used to love Baker Mayfield before like he was drafted, but like the Bucks are like, nah. I mean, depends. Like I'm not like sold to Derek Carr right now, but like I'd say like we can beat the Bucks. So it would be a good start. It would be a good start.
Yeah, but we can suck against those kind of QBs, and could be a tricky game. I don't know why. I have this feeling that could be a tricky game. Like we're on the third win. The team is kind of cool. Okay, we're playing Baker Mayfield, so it could be a tricky one. So
like that. Do you remember that game against Fitzpatrick? When he played for the Bucks and they just turned us over at home. It's like, what's happened here?
That's crazy.
I'd like to think more about last year when we played against Dan Darnold. He got 57 yards and they somehow won. So are we going for a win or a loss here?
I'm gonna say like I'm more scared about the Titans than the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers for this game. So.
All right. So I think John is veering
Yeah,
towards a loss, aren't you?
Yeah, but let's go for a win. Let's start.
All right,
And you
going for
have
a
to
win.
play with
Right.
us, guys. You have to give your opinion as
No,
well.
no. Me,
All right,
me,
all right,
me
all
and
right.
Dan are
We'll leave it
me
to
and
you
Dan
for
are
another
impartial.
podcast, okay? All right.
Yeah. We'll at the last podcast before the season starts. I think me and Dan will go opposite.
I've been letting my thoughts come through on various ones as we've done them. I think we'll beat the Packers.
Yeah. Right, the Patriots away.
Patriots will win. So we'll win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blimey,
Let's
we're
go
on
for one.
Stella.
No. I think you said the Patriots. You said the Patriots will win, so we'll lose.
Okay. All right. Okay.
No.
So right. Next one up is the Texans away.
Same issue as Bryce Young. Like,
Yeah.
it's tricky because like they have Damian Pierce as a running back. Like, they have a good team overall, to be honest. If CJ Stroud for like if fifth game's gonna CJ Stroud is kind of like it was like over Bryce Young the most ready quarterback for to play in the NFL. I leave it for the Texans. The Texans will win.
Right.
We got a good friend of ours is a Ohio State fan, and our friend Jerry Mike, and he absolutely loves CJ Stroud. He just says people are sleeping on him too much.
I saw him playing. I saw him play in person last year, and like I was watching like every Ohio State games, of course, but like I saw him in person, and I can tell you, guy is good. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, John, what do you think?
I do agree with Elio.
What was that? So, was the Texans win?
Yeah,
Texans win. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Sorry. Right. The Jags at home. Oosh.
Yeah, that's maybe the best QB that we're going to play against.
Yeah, without a doubt. Unless one of the rookies absolutely comes through on fire, he's definitely the best QB we're up against.
But I don't know. I hope I'm going for a win. Trequan Smith, 150 yards, 3 touchdown game. Let's go.
Isn't that enough to get John kicked off the podcast? Elio, what do you think, my friend?
It's a win for me as well. Like the Jags have a good team. Don't get me wrong. The Jags have a good team, but like it's at home. I feel like sometimes like even Trevor Lawrence is gonna play for his like third year. Like I think like we have more experience. Derek Carr has more experience, so it's gonna be a win for us.
Yeah, cool. The Colts away.
We beat the Colts. Hell yeah, we beat the Colts. Believe me. If we don't like, the season is over.
My only concern in this game is if Andy Richardson uses his legs, and you know that we struggle with running QBs.
Yeah.
I don't think they've got any. I don't think they've got anything else to worry about.
No.
Dan, I saw Richardson in person as well. Like, hell no, it's not. First,
I buy into your confidence. I buy into it.
We'll maybe talk about him in 3 years, but like not for his first year. Believe me.
No, you're probably right. Right. So the Bears at home.
I'm a huge Justin Fields enthusiast. The Bears are getting better. Good free agency, good draft.
Yep.
I think because we're playing at home, it could be a win.
Yeah,
I think, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
John, would you agree?
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one, but maybe a win. But could be really tricky against.
It could be a tricky game. Again, I think Dan touched on it. Those QBs that have the ability to move out the pocket, we struggle with. We see it all day long, and Fields is one of the best doing that.
All I can hope is we've addressed that with Foskey and those players.
Yeah. The Vikings away. I mean, God,
we lose this game.
Yeah, I'm going for loss too. But
Okay.
as Alvin said, fuck Minnesota.
The Falcons away after the bye week. So we got a bye week. The Falcons away.
I think we're gonna split the games with the Falcons.
Yeah.
They're gonna have one. I think it will be this one.
Yeah.
There is, I think, too much familiarities between the two teams now. With Ryan Nielsen going over there, some players too. I think we are gonna split the series and.
So you think they'll win their one at home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Elio, would you agree with that?
It depends on they play. Desmond Reader is not ready to be a quarterback even for his second year, but like Bijan Robinson can be a running back, like one of the best running back in the league for his first year.
Yeah, they're gonna
So
run it. They're gonna run it down everyone's throats, aren't they?
And the head coach is smart, you know, he's not a bad head coach at all. Like what they did, every move they did like during the off season are very interesting. But since they are the Falcons, I will say we'll win because like I never say we'll lose again.
Right.
And the thing is, if I was gonna say,
Dan, sorry, the boys are split. I need you to come in with the deciding score. So 1 win, 1 loss. What are you going for? Falcons away.
I think the Falcons win.
All right. Okay.
I don't know if
Michael on my side.
I don't know if Desmond Ridder plays because it could be. I didn't realize they've got Taylor Heineke. So if Ridder doesn't do well, Heineke could come in, and that could be a difference there. So
what a QB room.
I think it's a shit QB room, but I think they've got Drake London. I'm just getting a squad now. They've got Drake London. They've got Kyle Pitts. They've got Bijan. They've got enough there if they need to, and they've strengthened on defense. They've strengthened massively on defense. I still think they're shit, but
actually,
no, but guys, like we love like talking S word about the Falcons, but like I can tell you, they have a good team, and in 2 or 3 years, they're gonna be like very, very annoying, like very annoying.
Yeah. No, I think the foundations are there. I think they're being talked up a little bit too much this season. Yeah. But without a doubt, they've made moves.
They've addressed their secondary.
Yeah.
What they've done in secondary, I think, is good. I just can't. I just know that'll be the one game, and it'll be one of those ones where it'll just be like a real gut wrencher at the end. Hail Mary, and we'll be like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Right. So we're on to the 3 games in a row at the Dome. So you've got the Lions at home.
It's gonna be a win. Like I like Dan Campbell. I like what he's doing with the Lions because it's pretty not easy. Like, to like the Lions were in a like the worst situation ever, but like they did interesting moves and everything.
They were pretty strong, weren't they? At the back end of the last season, they looked pretty decent. Almost made the playoff. So yeah.
And
John, what do you think?
Win, though.
I'm going for a win too. It's going to be an annoying game for sure. But the Jared Goff is the QB, so I think we are going to beat the shit out of him. And I'm going for a win.
Okay, have to win the Panthers at home.
Maybe that's the tricky one. QB got more games under his belt.
Yeah.
I don't know about this one. Panthers done some good moves too in the off season. So.
Well, they haven't really got any wide receivers as such, have they? I mean, they got a really strong defense, but you just think weapons. Where are they with weapons? It's well and good having a really good, talented young QB, but you've got nothing around him. Oh, it's going to be difficult.
I'm going for a loss. I think. Derek Carr is going to have a bad game. Probably this one, and we'll see.
It's the time of the year. It's the time of the year where, like, when we always like lose a stupid game, and it's gonna be that.
Injuries as well. This time of year starts to mount up. You don't know what's gonna.
All right. Yeah. So I take it we're split on this one, guys. So Dan, you have to come in, mate. Make a decision.
He could be cooking by then, Bryce Young. I don't know.
Yeah. But cooking with what?
Well, I can't see us losing really. I don't think.
All
I
right.
don't know.
Okay. There you go,
I think of all the
decided.
teams in the South, I feel most confident about sweeping the Panthers than the others.
Okay.
I feel more confident about sweeping the Bucks. But anyway, let's move on. Giants at home.
Win.
Loss.
Elio.
Loss.
All right, Dan. You're up again, mate.
I'm going to go for loss. Darren Waller absolutely blows us out.
Yeah, you're right.
Good point. Yeah, that's a really good point. Right, the Rams away. Thanks, season.
Rams, like, we're gonna win.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's a win.
We're gonna win this one.
All right. So the Bucks away.
That's a
Win.
win too.
Yeah. And finally, Falcons at home.
Win.
Win as well. And
Win,
then
alright.
we're gonna be kicked out of the World Cup.
Right. So, gents, you've gone for your record is 11-6. I think we'd all take that, wouldn't we?
Oh yeah, that's winning the South.
Yeah.
It's a home playoff game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I might tell you there's gonna be a big issue about like the NFC South, like the Panthers and the Falcons drafted well on the last 2 drafts. They got very good free agencies as well. We don't draft that well often. This year was okay, it was decent, I'd say. But our free agencies are tight, of course, because like we can't do everything we want with the cap, even if we still like beat the cap, of course. I'm not that scared about the Bucks because I know the Bucks will be like in a Los Angeles Rams situation at some point. But like, we have to get ready about the Panthers and the Falcons. We have to get ready.
Yeah. They're both in project mode, aren't they? I think the last couple of years, I think both of them know where they were sort of heading, and they started preparing themselves. And yeah, you're right. I think in the next year or two.
Yeah.
Obviously, as fans, if the QB comes through, you're like, oh crap. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Bucks end up the number 1 seed and take Caleb Williams, we could be in a spot of bother for a few years. Potentially, if Bryce Young fulfills his potential, and then you have Caleb Williams and he fulfills his potential, all of a sudden it's looking like you got some good young QBs you've got to deal with for the next 10 years.
I just don't think the Bucks are that bad.
You think the Rams get Williams?
That's why we had to trade up to get Justin Fields 2 years ago, guys. I'm telling you.
I would have taken him in a trade. There was talk of us trying to trade for Justin Fields in the offseason. I would have taken that trade if we could have got it done.
Sure.
For sure.
If we put 2 firsts for Marcus Davenport, even if we wanted Mounds, we know it.
Yeah.
We could have put 2 firsts for Justin Fields.
And the other thing with Justin Fields, looking at in hindsight, he had a great connection with Chris Olave at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Really good connection.
Yeah.
Actually, Olave's performance dropped off a little bit when
he left.
Because
right.
CJ Stroud liked to go to Jackson Smith-Njigba. So, you know,
yeah,
we'll see.
Everyone's got their preferred targets, though.
Yeah.
One
last question for me. When you go to New Orleans and you put your bags down in your hotel and you go and get a drink, what's your first drink? It could be a cocktail or a branded drink. What's the first thing you think? I'm in New Orleans. I've got to try this. I've got to have it.
Can I have 2 drinks?
You can have 2 drinks. One's a chaser.
I always drink beer with bourbon. So I'm going with Ghost in the Machine, of course, and maybe an old fashioned or a Sazerac on the side.
Nice.
My man, that's my type of man. I am literally, when we finish this pod, I'm walking over to that bar and I'm getting an old fashioned.
Great.
What about you, Elio?
I'd say on Hurricane. Like, I mean, like, I'm not a big cocktail enthusiast, but
Yeah.
you get hammered very easily with it. You don't feel it.
Yes, yes, you do.
And
This
I
man
mean,
British.
it's just like history of a city. Katrina, it sucks. Hurricane doesn't suck. So let's go for it.
It's a good one. If you next time you're there, if you haven't tried it, my beer of choice is Juicifer. I only found out about it last time I was there, and I don't think they can export it because of the way they brew it. It's brewed. Our friend Eric sent us it's brewed cold, and they have to ship it cold. But yeah, if you haven't tried it and you get a chance to, it's a very nice beer. Very nice beer.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
by the way, when I went there, like Parish Brewing used to brew like it was like it was like something about this, like a beer, but like about the Saints. Like it wasn't who that, but it was like another name with that, and it was like Saints colors and everything. It was basically for the Saints. So I bought a lot, like 2 6-packs, I'd say. I used to drink them like before going to the game. So
Good man.
yeah, I enjoyed the game, but like it was like Saints beer basically. So
Perfect.
awesome.
Perfect.
All right, gents, thank you very much. Thank you very much
guys
for joining us. Apologies
Did it-
about my
All right.
my late entry into the pod, but obviously technical issues when you're on holiday and all that good
No worries,
stuff.
but next
But
time
thank you both.
you have to invite us, Michael, next time with you in Greece.
Yeah. Hey,
we
I'd
can
be
do
happy
this on
for a
site.
couple of you to come
Round
out.
table.
Yeah.
Round table. Look, guys,
Yeah,
it's been an
absolutely.
absolute pleasure. I'm really, really grateful that you was able to make the time to come on. And that's a bit late for you guys in France than it is for me. We absolutely would love to do this again with you guys. Maybe as the season goes on, we can have a recap. But thank you so much. Appreciate it. Take care.
Merci
Thank you,
beaucoup.
guys. Thank you.
Merci les
Take
amis.
care, guys.
Merci beaucoup.
Who that, boys?